Hello, this is Caroline. Time got away from me. Let's see if I can do this right. Thank you for joining me today in soul readings. If you have any questions for Michael or the other archangels, you can type them in the space, the chat spot. I'm going to start by seeing if Michael has any messages for us today. And he's just saying, I love you so much. I can see what you're going through is so hard and you're doing a good job. You're showing up for your life as it is. And it feels hard. It feels hard because it is hard. This is a real time of constraint and constriction. It's like you're pushing against the old ways of being and doing things. And it feels hard because of that push, because of that constraint and constriction that's squeezing you and you're pressing against it. He's saying that this is a form of birth. This is a way that we're birthing ourselves. In fact, this is a way the universe is oh my gosh, this is a way the universe is birthing us. It's like the universe itself is going through these contractions, the contractions of birth. The contractions of birth are really also the contractions of death because we're dying. The life as we knew it is ebbing. It's receding. It's dying. And we're being born into this new era. And there's constraint, there's constriction, there's pressing. And this is actually a very important part of the birthing process. So just like when babies are born, they need that pressing. They need that because it's squeezing out all the water from their lungs. It's activating their nervous system. It's activating the muscles. It's activating them, preparing them. That's what's happening to us too. We're in the birth canal. Right now we're in the birth canal. We're being squeezed by the universe, the forces around us, and it feels hard because it is hard. We are being challenged on every level: psychic, emotional, spiritual, physical, chemical, environmental, everything, relationships, work, economics, political. Everything is squeezing. And Michael is saying we have to ride the wave. We have to ride the wave. And so that's what we always say in birth too. We say that, the contractions, they come and they go. There's always a pause. There's always a pause between the contractions. That's where you take your rest. I've seen women go to sleep in the pauses. You take the rest. And we have to remember that in this time of intense change, that there will be pauses to recover, that we will not be asked to bear more than we can. We ride the wave. We ride it. We don't make the wave. We don't fight the wave. We don't antagonize the wave. We ride it. We surf it. We surf it. That's a sport. People have fun doing that. People have fun doing that. What if we were to take on a different perspective, right? A different way of seeing this experience and riding the wave. We are being born, but also it's a time to enter into life with curiosity. What's going on? How does that work? Why am I feeling like this? I want to be remade. I want to be reborn. I want to be renewed. I want to be refreshed. And that requires something in me being destroyed. And what if I'm okay with that? What if I'm okay with parts of me from the past life being destroyed so I can come into this new life with vigor? What if I enjoy riding the wave? What if the wave is exciting and fun and actually gives me energy instead of being something that I fight against or struggle against? Can I do that? Can I take on that perspective? Yeah. Thanks, Michael. Hi, Jinli. So Jinli is saying, oh, she's talking about having a hard time focusing on completing what I start. So creating. So being able to start a creative process, but having difficulty finishing a creative process. And noticing that when she comes back to creativity, that the thing that she was creating before is not as interesting as the thing now. She has a new interest. I think that a lot of us can relate to that. um, so a couple things, I mean, before talking to Michael about this, is that this is very typical of the dopamine neurotransmitter pathway, where with dopamine, low dopamine, we have very big difficulty finishing things. We if we get enough dopamine going, if we're excited enough about a project to begin it, then we can start it. But then we have a difficulty finishing it. And so sometimes getting more dopamine on board is what's helpful for that. And so things that stimulate dopamine in the body are like cardiovascular exercise, being with people, socializing, having fun, doing physical activities that you enjoy, singing, laughing, being out in the sun, um, eating, things like that. Dopamine pathway is also stimulated by coffee, sugar, carbohydrates, cocaine, pot, things like that. And so those are things that, probably not a great idea. Alcohol, tobacco, those are all stimulating also for the dopamine pathway. So basically, like if you go into a casino in Las Vegas or somewhere, that's all like a dopamine lair. That's a place where people are going to get a dopamine high. So like gambling is like a really good way to bring up dopamine, but we don't have to do it in those ways. We can do it more by being physically active, being socially active, and then there's nutritional support, of course, also for the dopamine pathways. So the L-dopa plant variety is called mucuna or velvet bean. That can be helpful for that. Having your amino acids in place, because, of course, dopamine is made out of amino acids, which are the precursors for protein. Having enough vitamin D on board, having enough B vitamins on board, especially B6. Um, and iron also is a precursor or a cofactor for making dopamine. So those are all things just like, kind of like normal, kind of Caroline things. Now we're going to talk to Michael about it. Um, and also, like, dopamine is also, so that's a pathway that ADHD works on. That's a pathway that OCD works on. That's a pathway, that all of these like concentration issues work on, is that dopamine pathway. So yeah, so let's ask Michael about this time where so many of us are struggling, sometimes with starting projects, and very commonly with finishing projects. Many times things don't get finished now, even if we can't start them. So again, thank you, Janlee, for bringing up one of the factors of the human condition that we're all facing and kind of struggling with. So asking Michael about this question. And what he's saying is, you're being too hard on yourself. Like, there's so much going on in this time. Like, you are the creative project yourself. Like the creative project is not something outside of you that you're doing. The creative project is you yourself. You yourself are being remodeled. That's why this is like a special time. Something is happening different in this time than has happened before in our lifetime. This is a really, really different time period. You are being remodeled. You are being created. You are the creative process. The creation is occurring through you. It's not something that you do on the outside of you. It's not a project that you do on the outside of you. It's not something that you do with paint and art and, pencils and a canvas. This is not the way to think about it. You are being created. You are being reborn, remade. And so what Michael is saying is that you have to see these creative processes as, with the paint and the pencils, or whatever it is, pastels, I don't know, whatever people use for creating. um you have to see that as an extension of your own self being created. These external projects are an extension of you yourself being created. They are not separate from it, they are the same. And once you see this external project as really being part of your internal process, then it will be easier. There will be what Michael is saying is conformity. Right now, there's not conformity between the thing that you're making on the outside and the way that you're being remodeled and created yourself. And so what's happening is that you're like you're not aware of this incongruency. And when I say you, I mean we. We're not aware of this incongruency between the art that we're creating on the outside of us and the way that we ourselves are being created as art. And so once we bring this into our awareness, oh, yes, I am being created. I am not the actual creator of this art. This art is being created as an extension of my experience being created. So what's been happening up to this time is like, one thing was the incongruency, like not being aware that that project was actually like an extension of you. And so then what happens is that because your creative process as an individual, because you are being remade, recreated so quickly, it's almost like the project loses relevance. Do you follow what I mean? Like the external project, the art project, or whatever it is, the creative project, you lose interest in it because it's no longer relevant to you. And so Michael is saying that the way to really think about this and enter into this is with shorter projects. Because this time of creativity is so fast. It is so intense. It is like veloz. It's like being supercharged. And so you can't really it's not realistic, Michael is saying, to expect yourself to be able to complete a project that is long. Like it takes a long time because it's an extension of you and you're being recreated like every instant, like you're a different person. And so it's almost like what you need to do is have these projects be like a snapshot, 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 like something very quick that you just can churn out because it has to match your speed of being created. Do you follow what I mean? So what you've been trying to do is something in the old way. The old way are longer, more extensive projects, take time because we were not in the same like universal, like the cosmic flow that we're in now, which is just like a gush, right? So this, wow, we're going through something at such an incredible speed now. It's almost like we can't keep up with it. And so those projects, there will be another time when you can do those kind of like longer, more methodical projects. But right now, it doesn't match with the speed of the universe. It doesn't match with the speed of your change. You are changing very quickly. You must create projects that just like in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Just a snapshot. This is who I am today. This is who I am now. This is what I think now. This is what I'm impressed with now. And that is the way that we create now. And it's so interesting what you're saying. Yeah, it is really like the thing that we began yesterday or the day before or whatever is already irrelevant. That's how fast we're changing. It doesn't matter anymore. And so how do we do this? How do we keep up with this creative process? And so Spirit is saying, like, the main thing to do is breathe. Come back to the breath, because that's the grounding thing. That's the thing that keeps us present. And so, like, Monday, Michael taught me this new way of saying present, which I did not know before. Michael was saying on Monday, the way to stay present is to be able to contextualize the past with the future. Staying present requires us to be able to contextualize the past with the future, which is lateral viewing. He called it lateral viewing. That's the soft gaze into the distance, allowing your eyes to separate, become monocular, feeling them orbiting like this, and then you'll feel them going out like this and coming in. And what I learned after that, with a healer that I was working with, is that we can really bring in the third eye too. So when we bring in the two physical eyes and the third eye, that really gives us this comprehensive vision. That's 360. That's 360 vision. I want to say 365 vision. 360 vision. Yeah. And so that's what helps us stay centered in the midst of this, like just super speedy change. And to allow our external experience to travel at the same speed. There is dissonance, there is discomfort, there is dis-ease and disease. All of those things occur when there is discrepancy between our internal experience and our external experience. And so what we need to do is bring those all together. And then it's almost like when you're traveling, when everything is traveling at the same speed, you don't really know what speed you're traveling at because you don't have an external reference point. This is so interesting. I never really thought of that before. Yeah, so you don't have an external reference point. And that's really what Michael is saying, is that we need to bring everything in with us. The art we create, anything we create, our relationships, our job, anything in our lived experience needs to be moving at the same speed we are in order to really persist. Otherwise, it's going to be like as we move it, it'll be torn off of us and become irrelevant. And so the key to this time, and I don't want to say surviving, because that's not really what it is. What it is thriving. The key to thriving in this time is to move together. And not only to move together all of the, ourselves with the things that are, attachments of us, whatever the creative process is, but to move together as a species, to move together as a planet. If we can come together, if we can move together at the same velocity. So what is the difference between speed and velocity, right? So speed is just movement without direction. It's velocity is speed with direction, right? And that's the key. Michael is saying that velocity is the key. We need to all be going in the same direction. If we don't all move together in the same direction, what's going to happen is that things will be flung off. The things that are not moving at the same direction, in the same direction at the same speed, will be like just like that centripetal force. It'll be just pulled off. That's just the way it happens. It's normal. It's not mean or anything like that. And so the key is for us to all come together, to come into this agreement that we're doing this thing. The cosmos is fated. This is just the way things are. To birth us at this point, let's do it. Let's do it together. Let's go through this thing together. when we do it together, then it becomes it's less of a challenge. It's not a challenge because we don't have an external reference point. It's just what we're doing, and it feels right. It's exciting when you come together to do something. There's a strength in it, right? There's a lusciousness, there's a excitement about it, and that's what we're being called to do today. The things that don't come with us are just going to become irrelevant. They'll be thrown off as we're moving forward together. And that is the way we are created, and that is the way that we create in this special circumstance, this very special circumstance that we're going through that no one in our generation has gone through before. That's the way we do it. That's the way we do it. We're riding it. We ride that wave together. How do we move together at the same velocity? It's that Michael is saying coincidence of thought. Coincidence of thought is how we move together at the same velocity. And so what does that mean? That means simply coming into an agreement. We're going to do this thing. We understand we're living in a special period. We understand that the forces of the cosmos are acting on us in a very unique and special way that feel difficult. But if we together say, we're going to do it, I'm going to do this, this is going to be okay. We are being recreated. Let's do it. That's it. I mean, it's not hard. And it's just like, if I say, I'm going to do this thing, and you say in your mind, I'm going to do this thing. Our mind, it's like this neural network is created between us. Everybody who's like, I'm going to do this thing. I'm not going to fight against it. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do this thing. And then it just starts taking force. This neural network that binds us all together in the planet, not just the people, the animals, the plants, the rocks, everything, the water, everything in the cosmos. We come together and we're just like, let's do it. We're being recreated. Come on, let's do it. We're being recreated. Yes, because we're being recreated so quickly, anything outside of us needs to be small projects that can be created and completed quickly. Created quickly, completed quickly. Just snapshot, snapshot, snapshot. And there will be a time when the longer projects are relevant again. Right now, they're not relevant. Yeah. Yeah. We all need that reminder. I'm thanking Michael. Yeah. Thank you, Michael, for such great reminders. And it's so helpful for me because I'm feeling it, sister. I'm feeling the squeezing of the cosmos. And I really appreciate the new perspective that Michael is giving us. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining today. Yeah. Thank you for joining today. And we're doing it. We're doing this together. We're creating a neural network that binds us together in the same velocity as we move through this birthing process, the creation of the cosmos. And we are being created. Yes. We are the product of this creation. Thanks for joining me in this soul readings today. Oh, I forgot to say, I'm gonna not be here. So Fridays I'm not doing anymore, and then next Monday I'll be out also. So I'll see you in a week on next Friday. Thanks so much.